I'm Jeff Sachs, Assistant Rabbi at Temple Road of Shalom in Falls Church. God's act of creating the world did not stop after 6 days. In Jewish tradition, it continues, and in our morning prayers, we thank God for renewing each day the act of creation. Judaism also teaches at its core that humans made in the image of God are covenantal partners with God in everything that happens in our world. This includes acting as partners in the ongoing formation and rejuvenation of our earth. Living in covenant with God requires real commitment, and being a partner in the earth's creation requires that we actively seek to live in harmony with the world around us. It means making individual as well as communal choices that contribute to the survival and the well-being of our environment. The leadership of the congregation where I and my clergy colleagues serve puts great effort into searching for new and better ways to use our resources, from energy-saving measures in heating and lighting our facility to helping individual members learn more about how they can make their homes function at a lower impact to the environment. But this is not enough. Our covenantal responsibility also requires that we speak out against energy policies that threaten our air, our mountains, the quality of life of those who live in those mountains, and the Earth's atmosphere. In a centuries-old rabbinic addition to the biblical story of creation, God leads Adam and Eve around the Garden of Eden and says to them, "Look at my works. See how beautiful they are, how excellent. For your sake I created them all. See to it that you do not spoil and destroy my world, for if you do, there will be no one else to repair it." For centuries, Jewish sages, as well as those of other religious traditions, have sought to remind us of our sacred covenant to take care of the miracles and the wondrous world we have been given. This obligation has never been more important than it is today. If we fail to protect our world in this critical time, there will indeed be no one else to repair it. Allow me to join my fellow religious leaders in the call for Governor Kaine to oppose the construction of another coal-powered plant in Wise County. We would welcome the opportunity to dialogue with the governor about these issues, to discuss them further, so that we together can embrace our human responsibility to protect and nurture the world in which we live.
I'm Jerry Creedon, pastor of St. Charles Borromeo Catholic Church here in the neighbourhood, and I'm chair of the Diocesan Peace and Justice Commission. I also represent Bishop Laverty on the board of the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, which is associated with the Virginia Power and Light. I'd like to endorse and support everything that Rabbi Sachs presented before you. And based on this biblical tradition, we as a Catholic Church have adopted as a principle of Catholic social teaching the care for creation. In the message of Jesus, this message of the biblical scriptures, the Hebrew scriptures, is endorsed and repeated. We believe that creation is part of the work of God's redemption. In the story of Pentecost, it talks about the Spirit renewing the face of the earth. And we hear in St. Paul about all of creation is groaning for redemption. And our late Pope John Paul talked about the earth itself suffering and hurting because of the lack of care, neglect, and abuse of our planet by humans in sometimes our, plain honest to God, greed. We look for short-term gains and we have long-term losses. I would like to join with other religious leaders and ask the governor to reconsider this project of Dominion Power in Wise County. Why? I think the idea of clean coal is an oxymoron. There's no such thing as clean coal. The experts might dispute this. This is my opinion. At least we should discuss this question of clean coal. The kind of mining for coal that's being done now, as distinct from the kind of mining my grandfather did when he was out in Butte, Montana in 1910, is mountaintop removal. It's drastic. It hurts the earth. It destroys our environment. The beauty of the Shenandoah Valley, which is a value, beauty is a value, is going to be impacted by removing mountaintops. Mountaintops that have their tops removed and replaced, some places with shopping centers, lose, I believe, some of that beauty that we can't put a value on. On a more practical level, the mountaintop removal means putting stuff into our rivers, increases the level of mercury, which is already too high, and destroys our rivers, our waterways, which eventually end up getting to places like the Potomac River. We already heard news this last week about the quality of our water. This is not good. It's not good for pregnant women to be over-consuming mercury. Not good for any of us. They say it's good for short-term profits and gains and that it will provide employment in the local community. But at what cost? Surely we need to find alternative renewable sources for energy that provide employment, but that also provide long-term gains. Plus, we should be reducing our energy consumption, not feeding this addiction that our president speaks about.
Good morning, I'm David Insan. I'm the pastor here at Clarendon Presbyterian in Arlington, and it is a pleasure to welcome my colleagues and to welcome each of you. On Sunday mornings when we gather here to worship, we always say this is a congregation that in our common life tries to live out the love and the justice of the gospel of Jesus Christ. We talk about how God loves us and how we are called to love God. And we can't love God and destroy God's creation. We can't speak of justice if we don't include environmental justice and ecological justice. In a deeper sense, our common faith traditions speak of seeking shalom, a right relationship with our Creator, right relationship with creation, right relationship with our fellow creatures. We're not in right relationship with our Creator if we dishonor creation. We're not in right relationship with the creation if we are destroying it. We're not in right relationship with our fellow creatures if our carbon-intensive lifestyle in Northern Virginia condemns others in places like Wise County to living in an economy that leaves nature destroyed and families devastated. And so we ask for a meeting with Governor Kaine to discuss the issues that my colleagues have laid out so clearly and articulately. We know that Governor Kaine is a man of deep faith. And Jesus said, if we have the faith of a mustard seed, we could move the mountains. Well, we're talking about having enough faith to not remove the tops of the mountains. If we have that kind of faith, the faith in our commonwealth, the faith in our creativity, faith in basic good old-fashioned American ingenuity, we can together come up with better, cleaner fuel technologies, with a more just relationship with one another, with care for our creation such that someday people will look back on our time and say there were a people with enough faith to save the mountains. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Jerry.